Okay, we're good. Cool. Hello, welcome to Poetry for the Polycrisis. My name is Becca. Also go by Macrosoft, and we are going to go on a journey together through music and poetry. I have a script here too. Printed this off at the library. This show was originally supposed to air in June, but because of a debilitating flare-up that lasted a couple weeks during that time, I was unable to make it. And so I just want to say a huge, enormous thank you to Tierra, also known as T Noble, who believed in my vision for the show, graciously offered me this opportunity and the opportunity to reschedule. And thank you for those tuning in. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the arrival. The smell of plastic lawn chairs, suffocating in the heat, and the scorched seats like a rock canyon forming rainbow wax waterfall from melting crayons, abandoned by melting children, throwing themselves to water, spitting garden sprinkler on their sticky popsicle fingers, but those tiny, tender beings never need to wash their hands clean. Welcome to the arrival, the taste of sunlight when you first step out into morning, and the fabric of the air greets your lungs like a devoted mother, swaddling you into thin baby blankets, soft cotton coating the skin, the concentration involved to balance such delicate precision with one's hands becomes effortless to what is devout practice. Breathing, a textural freedom, the taste of joy when you're only 4 years old, and the bike tires stitching and then unstitching themselves swiftly onto sun-baked concrete as the whispering wheels roll you into soothing certainty must mean that certainly peace can exist in every moment, even this one. Even when we've become sensorially censored by the suffocating blue screen smothering us within the imperialist empire's grip. Even when the tools of our hyper-surveillance oppressors become so second nature to us because of the indoctrination we're compounded into, and we've lost the ability to connect authentically with one another, and we forget to breathe. Even when we think we've lost access to the mixture of bodies that exists both within and outside of this earth's realm, and then we remember the field work. We remember love's work. In the becoming of the event, we are lost without the pedagogy of play. Do our ancestors shake their heads in shame? Or are they trying to wake us, stretching their spirits through the material field, softly grazing our cheeks with their ancient limbs, whose fingers might once have been tiny and sticky too, now summoning us back here to breath, to breathe. Breathing, a textural freedom. Welcome to the arrival into the sacred, nascent, drenching ourselves into the wisdom of our belonging. Welcome to the arrival into the sacred, drenching ourselves into the wisdom of our belonging. Throwing our bodies to water. That poem was called Only Four, and that track was called Nostalgia by Salamanda. This next track is called Night Walk by Ashok Leyland. crumbling beneath the weight of my fear, which festers and multiplies the more ingredients of suffering it interacts with, like wounds left to rot under a blazing, unforgiving sun. Ongoing housing precarity, estrangement from family, like the death of a friend, the worsening of health conditions by a mass disabling event that has become taboo by an ableist society. All recipes for an ugly, unbecoming. I could crumble at the touch of somebody's breath on me. Not in a good way though, like if you were thinking of it in like a sexy way. Because now we've allowed our breath to become dangerous, and I can't walk into a coffee shop without shielding my lungs from the collection of carbon dioxide from all these leaking mouths. From all these leaking mouths who've touched air uncertain to be tainted by that disease. The one we're all too repulsed by to name, like that bad guy from the book series about wizards written by that supercilious, transphobic, self-identified woman. The barista at the counter smiles complacently at me as the first words that tumble out of her mouth shamelessly. Are you sick? I answer no, quite the opposite, and I realize I feel weaker with the dismissal, the internal refusal to connect further, like the snapping of a rubber band against exposed flesh, now stinging, nerve cells screeching for relief. I've been rejected for speaking out about the ways we need to protect each other, and then neglected altogether for wanting to protect myself. So much so that the respirator on my face isn't the only shield I'm using anymore. So I slip into authenticity, like a nightgown I've not worn to avoid revealing all the new places on my body that have now stretched with dough-like fat, risen and still rising, forgiven, but still hiding. I put on my nightgown in front of the barista. She doesn't flinch. I tell her about my rising as well as my falling, and she listens because I speak in a way that allows her to. Because I'm speaking to her, not at her or away from her. She listens not just to my words, but to my eyes. And the silence that gives us each room to breathe into this connection with each pause, I brace for her to ask me for my order, for the rubber band to snap, pulling us both back into the simulation, the one in which we continue feeding the capitalist machine by reducing ourselves to our consumerist identities. But she doesn't, she holds my gaze. Like a heron whose strength is stillness. Listen, I know she isn't gonna start wearing a mask tomorrow, but we don't expect seeds to sprout the next day after we plant them either. I could crumble at the touch of somebody's breath on me, but in a sexy way, it could be nice. Instead, I'm left isolated, each repeat COVID infection disabling me further. There are some days I can't stand longer than a few minutes without my joints aching in agonizing pain. The barista says to me, well, it makes sense you would be wearing a mask then. Looking at her bare face, I crumble beneath my N99 respirator. I still think she doesn't understand, but she saw me in my nightgown. That might be enough for now. Thank you. For those of new people tuning in right now, in person or online, welcome to this show. It's called Poetry for the Polycrisis. We are going to be journeying through some original written poetry. The poetry I've recited so far is all original, but we'll also be exploring some of my favorite poets too. This song is called Six Leaves Elephant by Stella Z. This next poem is called Ode to Buttoning, and I'm buttoning my shirts by Ross Gay. No one knew, or at least I didn't know they knew, what the thin discs threaded here on my shirt might give me in terms of joy. This is not something to be taken lightly, the gift of buttoning one's shirt slowly, top to bottom, or bottom to top. Or sometimes the buttons will be on the other side, and I am a woman that morning, slipping the glass through its slots. I I tread differently that day, or some of it anyway. My conversations are different. And the car bomb slicing the air, and the people in it for a quarter mile, and the honeybees' legs furred with pollen mean another thing to me than on the other days, which too have been drizzled in this simplest of joys. In this world of spaceships and subatomic this and that 2, maybe 3 times a day some days, I have the distinct pleasure of slowly untethering the one side from the other, which is like unbuckling a stack of vertebrae with delicacy. For I must only use the tips of my fingers with which I will one day close my mother's eyes. This is as delicate as we can be in this life, practicing like this, giving the raft of our hands to the clumsy spider and blowing soft until she lifts her damp heft and crawls off. We practice like this, pushing the seed into the earth like this, first in the morning, then at night. We practice sliding the bones home. This next poem is called There's Really No Going Back Now, Is There? Some people don't like the wind, but I love to swim in it. I gaze out at the glass coating of the ocean and watch as its surface shatters by the wind's unseeable brush into openly cowering, crumbling touch. I love that no matter how hot the day, the wind's coolness will shatter my own skin, sending shivers down the traces of my body surface into hundreds of delicate bumpy trails that resemble a feathered species flesh. In my new suit of goose flesh, I can probably fly now. I surrender to the rushing force the way the seagull soaring several feet above me does, suspended in its own soulfulness. We are both riding the ferry home, its feet off the ground, mine on, but still both captivated, both carried by the water in the sky. Next poem is called Morality is a Heterosexual White Man's Game, and it is written by me. I stole an orange from my roommate's fruit bowl, and now I feel bad. Like, kind of really bad, even though the rest of the oranges in the fruit bowl were going bad. And now it's still sitting here a whole week later, the one I stole, and it has also gone bad. A molded spot of gray and green here where it should be orange, where it is now in a gray and green compost bin instead. And I can't even tell if it's stealing the orange I feel bad about, or if it's the fact that I've yet to reconcile with how often I take without asking when I don't need, how often I take when I just want to melt, when I just want to become, when I just want to chew on the time that I've got and let the bite sink inside my mouth before I swallow, while I swell into the sweetest liquid sugar and hug her. I wonder, how often do I take when I already have, or give and give when I've got nothing left for me? But the days go by. Would you like a mint? And I'm okay, I don't smoke, thanks. Will you tell me again of how the earth sank beneath you and crawled toward your feet, asking for forgiveness? If I return to you a basket of oranges, have I outdone my sin? I'm in awe of the way we nourish these bodies with what we know will turn to rot. Will we turn to rust, to rest? We're all just tourists here, and I'm still taking the hotel shampoo to go. That's my favorite bad poem that I've written. This next poem is called Queen Under the Hill. It's by one of my favorite poets, Ocean Vuong. He's actually, I don't know what their pronouns are, but they are a Vietnamese American queer poet. Highly recommend you look them up if you haven't heard of them before. Queen Under the Hill by Ocean Vuong. I approach a field. A black piano waits at its center. I kneel to play what I can. A single key, a tooth tossed down a well. My fingers sliding the slimy gums, slick lips, snout, not a piano, but a mare draped in a black sheet. White mouth sticking out like a fist. I kneel at my beast. The sheet sunken at her ribs. A dented piano where rain collected from the night reflects a blue sky fallen into the side of a horse. Blue thumbprint pressed from above, as if something needed to be snuffed out, leaving this black blossom dropped on a field where I'm only a visitor. A word, exiled from the prayer, flickering. Wind streaks the pale grass flat around us, the horse and I, a watercolor hung too soon and dripping. Green waves surround this black rock where I sit, turning bones to sonatas. Fingers blurred, I play what I know from listening to orchards unleash their sweetest wrongs. The dent in this horse, wide enough to live by. Puddle of sky on earth, as if to look down on the dead, is to look up at my own face, trampled by music. If I lift the sheets, I will reveal the heart huge as a stillbirth. If I lift the sheets, I will sleep beside her as a four-legged shadow, hoof homed to hoof. If I close my eyes, I'm inside the piano again and only. If I close my eyes, no one can hurt me. This next poem is called On Abolition, and it's written by me. ACAB, as in all cops are bastards. ACAB, as in fuck the system that protects property and profit over people. ACAB, as in, yes, that includes landlords too. ACAB, and yes, that includes billionaires too. ACAB, as in all cops voluntarily participate in a state of system power that enacts direct and indirect harm primarily onto marginalized communities, primarily onto indigenous and black people and unhoused people and people who use drugs and people who protect the people and people who protect the land and people who imagine a future outside of hierarchical systems of power where care is a fundamental component of society. The artists, the activists, the journalists, the poets, the caretakers, and the storytellers. ACAB, and yes, that means free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan. Nobody is free until all of us are free. ACAB, but make it more than a virtue signal. Make it more than just a line you drop in your dating app profile bio. Make it more than just a way of queer coding. ACAB, but also make it remove the cop inside your own head. Because the call is sometimes coming from inside the house, more oftentimes than not. And where's your head? Where's your house? Where is your home? And can you find a way to return there? Because it's ACAB, but it's also make it be gentle with yourself. We are all unlearning the deeply conditioned societal indoctrination imposed on us since birth. Because it's ACAB, but it's also make it connect back to the land and to each other again. It's ACAB, but let us not abandon each other and use the same tactics of punishment, surveillance, and control over one another. Because we're tired of fighting, we're tired of hurting, but baby, the fight goes on, the fight's been on. If you're tired, just take a rest. It's ACAB, and it's let us remember the pedagogy of imagination. It's ACAB, and it's let us learn to forgive each other and build towards a better generation and live with each other, even if we don't like each other. How can we still love each other? ACAB, but let us teach our children that hierarchical power should be challenged within all relationships and within all systems. It starts in schools, it starts at home, it starts in our hearts. A better world is possible. This song is called Spiral by Rosa Terenzi off her album Modern Bliss. Highly recommend this album. These next two poems are by Billy Ray Belcourt. The first one is called Towards a Theory of Decolonization. One, forget everything you've learned about love. 2, investment is the social practice whereby one risks losing it all to be a part of something that feels like release. Lose everything with me. 3, Indian time is a form of time travel, a poetics of lateness. 4, I never liked goodbyes, but some of us aren't here to stay. 5, superstition is a mode of being in the world that keeps ghosts like me in the living room. 6, the afterlife is the after party, a choreography of mangled bodies. 7, I made a poem out of dirt and ate it. 's poem is called An Elegy for Flesh. Do we have a word to make sense of this kind of loss? A body feeling like it doesn't belong to you anymore. Sometimes the act of enduring itself becomes too much to bear, and you forget how to go on in a world that didn't want you in the first place. How do you mourn something you can still see in the mirror? This next poem is called The Tides of Spring, and it is written by me. I want to get to know you like the intimate moments where you blossom new breath in the morning. When you masturbate, where do you touch yourself? I haven't smoked a joint in a few days, and yet I can still feel crimson honey-smoked blood flooding through my slowly blinking heartbeat. My fingertips question everything. There are no answers. Because there are no answers, there is no release. Purged notes tumble around my neck and into the fluid flushing between my gushing, grieving muscles, bulbed and bubbled and blamed for trying to exist. I'm convinced that shame has never been an emotion, but a factory of cells embedded in my DNA through my very conception. I ate spaghetti for breakfast this morning, then requested the ghost inside my body to emerge from my clitoris as I touched the pool of pleasure escaping between my sweaty thighs. Perhaps the pink tint spilling in through the glass of my bedroom window, glowing pretty on my skin, is precisely what makes me neither man nor woman. For what heart, beating alive, wouldn't spread open their eyes to watch this hue? Swallow it sweetly with blinking eyes, blinds unfolded, swimming in peace, a color, a moment. My toes curling, stretching towards melting sunset, sunset melting, stretching towards me. Ever notice how time slows down when you're in a museum? As if the present is pausing us, pressing us to pause. I want pain to elude me so badly, I forget to allow enjoy. But I had spaghetti for breakfast this morning, and I slipped my fingers into spring. So I'm going to tell a little story now. My friend passed away a few months ago, back in December. And when I found out, I felt this instant urge to run to my bookshelf for some reason and pull out a poem. I felt like I needed prayer in that moment. Poetry to me is prayer, and this poem was the one that popped out at me, and I just felt her with me when I read it. I'm going to read it today. It's by Mary Oliver. We love Mary Oliver. It's called The Dipper. Once I saw, in a quick falling white veined stream, among the leafed islands of the wet rocks, a small bird, and knew it from the pages of a book. It was the dipper, and dipping he was, as well as sometimes on a rock peak, starting up the clear, strong pipe of his voice. At this, there being no words to transcribe, I had to bend forward, as it were, into his frame of mind, catching everything I could in the tone, cadence, sweetness, and briskness of his affirmative report. Though not by words, it was a more than satisfactory way to the bridge of understanding. This happened in Colorado more than half a century ago, more certainly than half my lifetime ago, and just as certainly he has been sleeping for decades in the leaves beside the stream, his crumble of white bones, his curl of flesh, comfortable even so. And still I hear him, and whenever I open the ponderous book of riddles, he sits with his black feet hooked to the page, his eyes cheerful, still burning with water love. And thus the world is full of leaves and feathers and comfort and instruction and grace. I do not even remember your name, great river, but since that hour I have lived simply in the joy of the body as full and clear as falling water, the pleasures of the mind like a dark bird dipping in and out, tasting and singing. This next poem is called Cycles, and it is written by me. The clock ticks like nothing but an ancestor, drowning in the seconds of an intergenerational trauma until I'm not, until I'm sea monster, foreign to my mother's landscape. If you've ever dunked your head underwater long enough, testing to see how long your lungs could save you, then you already know enough. How can we document pain in a way our bodies understand? I look to my ancestors and they're everywhere, clicking their tongues, slurping back their saliva between their ancient teeth. The water fountain outside the museum chatters to try and silence them, and yet they keep coming back to remind me I am seconds away from drowning, seconds away from becoming the exhibit itself. This next poem is called As the Body Grows, and it is written by me. Holy in size, I notice how much more these limbs can carry. I notice how much more these lungs can expand, like whole oceans of oxygen cultivating new life within me. As the blood beats through this body, I move still enough, like mountains. The spider outside my bedroom window, suspended in the air by its tender, translucent thread of silk-like silver magic. As the blissful rush of feeling alive flushes red between these bones, my body blessed, the spider still hanging there, still in that exact same spot outside my window 2 months later. Autumn falls, lands softly in the folds of its own wings, the shy moths blushing, their bodies opening, splattered pattern of divine design on the pages attached to their vertebrae. Variegated white and brown, colors like cream shushed across my bedroom walls. swift and silent moving art before my only human eyes. Fresh exhibitions in subtle motion, masterpieces from wall to present me a different gift each day. Shifting each morning, I wonder what I will find and how many. And if God is real, they must be honoring me somehow. But God is not real. Nature is just sacred. My roommate is scared of spiders, like screams when she sees one afraid. And I'm afraid she'd be really pissed to hear I've let one stay with me this whole time, guarding me while I sleep. I'm sure she'd be freaked out to hear I let dozens of moths decorate these walls all September, all 7 of them, although later I counted 11. And that spider, the same one that hung outside my bedroom window as the seasons flipped over, was the same spider that at one point I thought may be dead. Carcass strapped to her web, floating, a ghost. From time to time, I watch her orchestrate a ceremony for my grief. Acrobatic dancing in all her glory. Glass-like braided glowing nets in all these corners of my bedroom. Several months later, I'll look up to the ceilings, checking to be certain she's still here. And I won't tell my roommate. I know she can't speak, but I still like to listen to her. I know she feels safe in this room with me, as my body. That song was called East Egret Pond Road by Stella Z. Shout out Stella Z. I have like 3 tracks by her in this set. And here's another one by her. It's called In the Woods, We'll Be Late. I'm gonna read another poem by Mary Oliver. This one's a classic. You might have heard a line or 2 from this one. It's called Wild Geese. Before I read it, I invite you to take in a deep breath with me if you feel called to it. You do not have to be good. I'm going to say that line one more time. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Okay, we're gonna end a little bit earlier. I just have one more poem left. This poem does not have a title. I wrote it today. The reduction of the human condition is smothered by a culture that clings to the politicization of our identities. But tell me who you are when a breeze from the sea blinks between towering trees, and nobody can see you but the warblers and the wrens in the damp, viridescent forest that begs you to rest. The soil on its knees asking at your feet for this moment. Who are you when the air finally touches your cheeks, like a slow kiss to release the reminder from the universe that even when you feel alone, this whole world still loves you? Describe the feeling of your volitional intuition when you were drenched into the wisdom of your body, like ocean water folding itself like quick dough, the blue dough rising and falling as if it was the earth's breath. I notice when I sit down, my body like dough flattens itself to serve the rest of me. What a gift to myself. I get too invested into the characters of a Netflix show, and I forget that I am human too. I forget the way I tremble before a kiss on the first date. Forget the way I marvel at the moon like a glowing orb of marbled architecture. Forget that in the poetry there's prayer. That poetry is prayer. And it's okay if every moment feels troubled. But know that this moment does not have to be. It is not prophecy that I must suffer here endlessly. But can I make it prophecy that I surrender here, honestly to this breath? Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here with me on this journey. I wish you all a life of ease and unnecessary suffering, and I hope we can continue to feel called to show up in ways for each other that move toward a life where we can all just live a life in peace. You know what I mean? Cool. Thank you. JK, we're going to play 2 more songs.